All right, Dietrich. I did start this once and I stopped it because my neighbor's sports car revved really loud. Hopefully she doesn't do it again. But I'm not gonna cut this video. I'm just gonna go straight through and you can do with this footage whatever you're gonna do with it. I'm nervous to answer these questions, but I'm excited. It'll be fine. I hope you may be able to hear that car out there. If you can, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna do anything about it. Okay. What's your absolute favorite thing about the writing process? Example, total chaos and power, the ability to influence someone, the smell of Sharpies. My favorite part of the writing process. Ooh. And I want to answer with something basic, like outlining, right, drafting, editing, whatever. Okay, I don't want to answer it with something basic like outlining or drafting or editing or whatever. I'm such a type A person, and I keep a little calendar in my writing folder that's like all of the projects that I've wanted to write in the order that I would like to write them, and like spaced out like how long I think it's gonna take me to write. So like outlining for this month, drafting for these months, break editing, and then like publication dates. And I have it planned out to like 2027. In terms of like publication dates and everything and what those projects are gonna be. And I guess planning, but like not planning the books, planning the process. What's your major and why did you choose it? So I graduated with a bachelor's degree in public health and biology, and I chose it because I was a pharmacy student, and then I realized I don't really like chemistry. And I had read The Hot Zone in high school, and I reread it in like 2019, 2018. It must have been 2018 that I reread it, and I really enjoyed the epidemiology aspect. So I went into public health thinking that I would continue on and do a master's in epidemiology, but just during my time getting my degree and with the thing that happened in 2020 that suddenly made my degree a little bit more relevant than I wanted it to be, my priorities shifted a little bit. But I'm really happy that I got the degree, and I liked it. I'm glad that I learned the things that I learned being there, because I think that they have been really beneficial in other aspects of my life. Favorite flavor of Pop-Tart? I'm basic. I like strawberry Pop-Tarts. I used to like get the this is so gross. I think about this occasionally when I'm having my cereal or whatever, and I'm like, oh, this is a lot before I go to work. I used to get up in the morning and eat like a hot fudge sundae Pop-Tart, just empty stomach, hot fudge sundae Pop-Tart, go to school, and like live my life for the rest of the day. I think if I did that now, I would throw up. But I do occasionally get the strawberry Pop-Tarts. I was vegan for a while, and when I was vegan, I would get the strawberry Pop-Tarts with no icing, and they were delicious, but not as delicious as the ones with icing. So I'm no longer vegan. I do get my Pop-Tarts with icing now. You are given an unlimited budget, love that, and total creative control to design a billboard to go up in Times Square for 500 consecutive days. What's on the billboard? What's on the billboard? Because I feel like the thoughtful answer would be something that is helpful and relevant and bigger than myself. However, I am small and petty. I think it would be like a big white billboard, and in black text, it'll say, "Did you turn off the stove?" And like that'll be it, and it just sits there. All right. What's your favorite snack? So it changes. Right now I'm kind of on a fruit kick, so I've been eating a lot of dates as a snack, which sounds really boring, but they actually taste really good. I had never had dates before recently. um, I'm not. I'm not really a snacker. I'm a meal person. Like if I sit down, I want to eat something and feel full. So if I have a snack, it's like me going into the kitchen and like grabbing like a handful of dry cereal or like a or like a handful of like baking chocolate chips and stuffing them in my mouth as I'm scrolling through my phone. I'm like, ooh, a little that's a little snack. Because usually by the time I get hungry, I'm like, oh, I'll just have a meal. I'm not a huge snacker. If someone was going to make a sitcom based on your life, who would play you and what area of your life would you want to show the show to focus on? I don't think that's mortifying, whoever asked that. Somebody said they're asking mortifying questions. I would want it to focus on probably like college through young adulthood. Like the most recent aspect of my life, because I feel like that's kind of the most interesting and where I learn the most and where I think the most, because like sitcoms always have like little life lessons, and where I think that those life lessons would present themselves in the best way. Although maybe you feel that way about every aspect of your life as you get older, like the last couple of years were where you learned the most. And I guess that would kind of mean that it's focusing on me like settling into my first adult friendships and relationships, picking a career path, abandoning it, picking again, being happy where I'm at, like those kind of things, and finally kind of feeling like I'm finding my tribe, my people, all of that stuff. And who would play me? Probably if you've seen, God, I've been compared to a lot of people. I think it would have to be the girl from Lock and Co. The actress. I don't know what her name is, but I've gotten comments before that I look like her, and that's one of the few that when I look at it, I'm like, okay, I do see that. I think that I would want her to play me. I think. What's one terrifying thing you'd like to accomplish? My most recent like intrusive goal thought has been like wanting to go full time with the writing and the social media. With the thought being, if I were to ever make this number that I've picked in my head consistently, that I would make that then my full-time gig, which is not really in my personality. I like having assured income and stability and things, but like, so it's a scary thought, but it's also like really exciting, and I think that I would love to be able to do that someday. I don't know if it'll ever happen though, just to be so for real, but it's been rattling around up there. It won't leave me alone. Are you ever afraid you're a robot? I'm too stupid. Too stupid to be a robot, and also too stupid to be afraid if I possibly was one. You're in charge of a writing convention. That's a bad idea. Attended by 5,000 aspiring authors, and are in charge of assigning each member of the group chat a topic to lecture on for an hour. What are your assignments? Will your keynote address be on? Okay, so I gotta go through the list. Let's start with Adrian, and I would want Adrian to do a lecture on I want Adrian to do a lecture on, because I was gonna say characters. Yeah, I think I want her to do a lecture on like characterization, writing characters who have strong characterization. That would be her lecture. Mel's way of writing scenes that feel super sensory and like all encompassing is so impressive to me. So I don't know what she's gonna title it, but that's what I want her lecture to be on. Kate's lecture, I mean, it's gotta be on romance. Like, it has to be on writing romance arcs. It has to, because she's so good at it. Cassie's would be, I haven't read the Elemental Project yet. I think Cassie's would be, because it has to be a writing thing. And she's so cute. I was like, she could just do it on being a little cutie, but that's not gonna work for writing. Honestly, I think I would really like to hear her talk about working with publishers and editors and like that side of writing, because there is a balance and a dance there that I think indie authors don't always experience. Like, they don't always go through all of those avenues when they're publishing. And when they do experience, I don't think that it's talked about a lot. And I know that she has spoken about it a few times in the group chat. And I think once the book comes out and everything, I would love to hear like an overall conversation with her about balancing wanting to, your book is your baby, and like wanting it to be what you want it to be, and also learning to work with other people and other professionals and taking what they're telling you and knowing like how to choose what to apply and what can kind of be taken with a grain of salt, and like how that whole process worked, because I'm very curious. This isn't a convention of 5,000. This is a convention where we all go stand in like a lecture hall and I'm the only one listening. And Dietrich, I want Dietrich to do a lecture on reading like a writer. Like, I want him to talk about, because the way he speaks about books, I'm like, he reads like a writer. He reads like an author, because I read books and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so good. This is so fun. And then I'm like, that was a great book, and I put it down. And then he reads the book and he's like analyzed it and like its parts. And I would love for him to do a lecture talking about that. So Adrian, characterization; Mel, sensory setting; Kate, romance; Cassie, working with publishers and editors and other people to get your book out there; and Dietrich on reading like a writer. Yeah. Oh, and mine. I get a topic. I want to do mine on motivation versus discipline, because I feel like when I talk about writing, it's not like, I don't write when inspiration strikes. I just kind of like write every day. Not every day. I have a day that I have scheduled off every week, but every day that I'm scheduled to write, I make myself write, even if I think it's going to be bad. And talking about why it's important to be disciplined as opposed to just ebbing and flowing with motivation, if you want to do this as slightly more than a hobby. If you're just doing it as a hobby, you should just do it when it's fun. But like talking about motivation, inspiration, and discipline, I think is what I would want to, because that'd also give me a good reason to explore it myself. Write it like an essay. If you could only wear one animal print and nothing else for the rest of your life, what would it be and why? See, because my initial thought, I was like, oh, it would be pig print, because it would just be pink. But I think that's boring. I think I want cow print, because black and white, it's kind of it's trendy right now, and it'll be really gaudy in a couple of years. But in a couple of years, I'll be middle-aged, and then I could be the middle-aged like gaudy aunt, and I think that would be iconic. So, cow print. When do you think your love of Taylor Swift really kicked off? I'll take any opportunity to talk about Taylor Swift. So it kicked off the ripe age of 7 years old when I heard Picture to Burn for the first time. And I was like, oh, that slaps. And I, of course, at that age, I didn't know how to like follow artists. So I just continued to listen to Taylor Swift through, like, unaware that there were like eras or like different albums and stuff through the Speak Now era. And then Red came out, and I like realized like, oh, these are like separate albums, like these are separate entities. And I think Red was the first time that I was like in the fandom, kind of. I still wasn't super on social media, but like I was like, oh, like this is like its own album with its own vibe, and like these were the other albums with their own vibes. I didn't even know that I'd Lie wasn't a release song. I thought I'd Lie was like a single because I listened to it so much. So Red, I think would be the era that I was like got super into her. 1989, I vibed for Rep. Lover, I had started college, and I think I was really distracted with college, so I was like totally off the radar when Lover came out. It's become one of my favorite albums, so I have a Lover tattoo on my arm. Folklore and Evermore, I spent so much time 2020 back and forth in my car, like long drives, so Folklore and Evermore got me through that. And then like obviously being back in school and doing so much school for my dorm room, I needed music to listen to, and that was what I listened to. And Midnights, I think really kind of reinvigorated the like fangirl in me, because Fearless TV and Red TV I like really enjoyed, but I wasn't like and I think Midnights like reinvigorated that excitement for me. And I went to the Eras tour, and it was amazing. And then Speak Now TV came out, and I love Speak Now. I think Speak Now remains one of my favorite albums. 1989 TV came out with the best vault I think that we've had so far. And we're about to get Tortured Poets, and I'm like, I have to know what it sounds like. I can't believe that the Taylor that exists 5 weeks from now knows what it sounds like. I can't believe it. I need to move on. If you had unlimited money to throw toward any cause, what would it be? I don't have like an exact organization, but I really want to donate to specifically women's suicide prevention and mental health. Because I think I've read studies about suicide, and can I say that on YouTube? I'm sorry if you have to bleep me out, Dietrich, that's my bad. But in the last year or so, I did a lot of research on suicide in women specifically, and learned that a lot of times there are multiple attempts that are not taken as seriously. They're taken more as like cries for attention than they are genuine mental health events. And so I would really like to donate, I think, to suicide prevention in general, but if I had the opportunity, specifically focused on women. Are you ever afraid you're a robot? I think we've already had this question. I think this is meant to throw me off. Still not scared. Still not afraid. If you could choose any book to be adapted into a Broadway musical, what would it be? Give me the names of 3 songs. Because it would be campy as hell. It's gonna be The Hot Zone, because it would be so campy. And people would actually get it now that COVID has happened. Sorry I said it. That's my bad. You're gonna have to bleep me out. So The Hot Zone. There would have to be The Ballad of a Can Opener. And then Negative Pressure would be the other song. What would be the third one? Oh, that's such a bad name. It would have to be. This is terrible. Knowing what happens in the book, it's terrible. But Monkeys in My Trunk. So Ballad of a Can Opener, Negative Pressure, Monkeys in My Trunk would be the 3 songs. Those would be like if the musical had a traditional album rollout, those would be like the 3 singles, I think. Are any characters of TSP self-insert? No, they're not. I was worried for a while that Winnie would come across as one, because I do talk about like her gifted kid burnout being something that I experienced, but I kind of did that with all of the characters where I put these sort of aspects of myself in them, and I always feel like I pick like the worst aspect. Like I give these characters all of these great traits and then just gift them the worst parts of myself, because I need a reason to not feel sympathy when I'm writing them, and I think that that's kind of my avenue for doing that. So Winnie has the like the gifted kid burnout kind of thing going on. I think that she's more abrasive than I am. Elliot has this sort of starry-eyed, optimistic view of people in the beginning that ends up, you know, kind of biting him in the ass. And that reminds me a lot of me kind of pre-college. Noah's just a supportive guy. But I think that he has a level of loyalty that's eventually going to get him into more trouble than he's prepared for. Because he would do, like, you know, he would give you the shirt on his back kind of a guy. Steven is Steven kind of like, he wants to pick a fight, but he's not, he wants it to seem like you started the fight. Sorry, not sorry. I worked on it. We're doing better. And Dr. Calling has this very matter-of-fact cadence about him that is definitely was the easiest for me to write. Because he said what I thought. Not in his morals, obviously, but like in conversations that I had with him and some of the other characters. So those are kind of like the main players in the book, and some of the personality traits that I think mirror me, but none of them like as their own person were self-inserts. And that's all. That's the whole thing. I don't know if you wanted a sign off for this, but this was fun. Thank you for organizing it. I also don't know how I'm going to send you this video because it's 22 minutes long, almost 25 minutes long, to be honest, because we're ticking up towards 23 minutes. But it's done, and I've got other stuff to film today, so that I'm probably going to do sitting right here as well. Bye.